Hello, everybody. Welcome back to At Any Age Podcast. This is Kaitlyn.
And this is Lisa.
And we have been away for a very long time. Not kind of intentionally, but then kind of intentionally. I don't know, for me, you just kind of get into like a slump, especially, I think it's like seasonal too. Because now that it's starting to warm up, I'm more motivated to do things. And then when it was all like still snowy and rainy and dark, I was like, no, not in the mood. And then sickness, people being sick.
A lot of sickness, yes.
Yeah, people being sick, and then it was like my birthday, and yeah, I think that kind of sums it up.
Yeah, it was kind of busy though too with our work and what we do, and
yeah, you're right. Like sometimes there's, you want to do something that's for fun and pleasurable, but then if it's like not and it's too much and you need a space, then that's okay. That's something to recognize in any aspect of your life, to take a step back. So
absolutely, it's good to be back.
It is. But we got some things to talk about because we have been away and we have been thinking, and things have been changing in our lives so much. I think last time we did talk about Lisa's good news, where she is with someone, and I can confidently say that, and I feel like now she can confidently... Can you confidently say that now?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes, I can confidently say that. I can't even speak right today because I'm such high, but yes, I can. Yes, I am.
Good. I'm glad that everything is...
in a good place.
Yeah. It seems so, and I'm happy for that, and that you're on this path. It makes me happy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, and you will be on that path too.
I will. Except about my last try to be on the path. What happened to me? I got stood up for the first time ever. So that kind of stank.
Well, it's your first time, so it's been...
Yeah.
You're how old?
You're 26 now.
Yes, so... Not bad.
Not bad. Oh, thank
Not
you.
Bad.
Not bad. Not a bad record.
Not a bad record.
You've been doing this for like 6 years, and this is your first time this happened? Not bad.
Not bad.
That's okay.
That's all good.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just, like we talk about a lot, it's just another lesson to be learned. Just kind of... And I'm not even... And I wasn't even like too butthurt over it either, because, well, one, you don't really know this person, so why are you going to get super, super upset? It would be one thing if you were in like 10 dates in and all of a sudden, boom, stood up, gone. That would be one thing. But this, it's kind of, I think it's a reflection maybe on the other person. Sometimes people do get scared. We have spoken of that. Fear can hold someone back. Even if you want to do it, maybe, I don't know.
You're too scared. I think, sometimes people get too scared. They really want to, and then when the time comes, they just freeze up, just like with a test, right? You just freeze up, and you just like, oh no,
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing that I would want, like, that person to know is don't be afraid to just say something. Mm-hmm. To just say, hey, it's not going to work out right now. It was lovely talking to you, but I just don't think it's going to work. Instead, I just, got the silence, and that was that. And I highly doubt I will ever hear from this person again. And I think the worst part, though, is if I already had an inkling before that I was going to get stood up before I arrived at the movie theater. But if I hadn't and I just shown up, I think that would have been a tiny bit more devastating if I had no idea that was going to happen. Because we left it as, I'll see you tomorrow. And if I hadn't really thought to myself, something doesn't seem right, and tried to confirm that day that we were still going to be meeting, then I literally could have just been standing in front of the movie theaters.
And that would have hurt.
Yeah.
That would have been, yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know, how can you know? Like, because he didn't know that I wasn't going to show up. So,
I would like to believe that people don't do this intentionally. Don't set up to meet people and then not show up. Yeah. I think, like you said, I think they get scared. Yeah. It's their own, what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are some that just do it for the fun of doing that to people. I'm sure there are, but I think there are more that don't, and I think they just get really scared. Yeah. I mean...
No, I do too, and all we can do is, well, all I did is just kind of like pray for that person and, hope that they don't repeat that pattern and are able to, I don't know.
Move on from whatever they're going through, whatever is holding them back from.
Yeah. And whatever if they do reflect on it, I hope they do, that they can have a reflection and then move past it and, like I said, not do that again to someone else. Because, it is hurtful, and it is, to me, it was, like, shocking. Because I was like, what? Nowadays, you get ghosted. And I think we've spoke about that, too. You get ghosted. You don't,
Well, I think ghosted is just like being stood up. Ghosted is like...
virtual stood up.
Yeah, you're being stood up.
Yeah.
Because you are being stood up.
You are. Yeah.
So it's...
Well, I guess I've been stood up multiple times and many, many times. Oh my goodness, maybe I should reflect on myself.
No.
Yeah. Well, I have done my reflecting on myself.
I mean, I think we all need to reflect on ourselves. But, I mean, I think a lot of it is growth, though, too, when we go through all this.
Exactly. There's a reason for anything and everything. Always a reason. Always, God has a reason why. You can't deny that, that's for sure. So, I've learned my most recent lesson, and I'm ready to take what I've learned and move forward.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Positive.
Exactly. Although I don't have really any perspective, anybody right now. There was just like one person that maybe I'll go for a walk with, which he brought up something interesting. He brought up the whole how he feels like people don't hang out first before going on a date. But in my mind, it's your first date is that casual hangout to get to know if you want that second date. So you can see it's like fun. It's all the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you call it? Like, I would call going for a walk a first date. But to this person, that's just hanging out and seeing if they want to take you on a date.
Yeah, like you said, it's all how they look at it.
Yeah.
You look at it as that's your first date. And I look at it that's your first date, too.
Yeah. Like, it's casual.
Right. But you're still meeting. It's your first meet. It's your first date.
Yeah. Which, because you go into it, you're not going into it intending to be friends. You're going into it, well, you want to be friends, but I mean, like, you are going into it knowing that, like, down the line, you would hope for it to be more than friendship. Have that friendship, but that, you know what I mean? Like, a relationship, like a romantic relationship. So I just thought it was interesting, that perspective of, like, oh, hangouts don't really happen anymore. People don't do that anymore. And I guess it's because maybe it's the way our society works right now, meeting people. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not just gonna be in a big group of people and hang out with someone that then you start talking to them, you're physically attracted to them, verbally, like your conversation, you're like, wow, I really like what they're saying. And then you decide to go on a date. Like, that would be your first hangout. And then you'd go. But I feel like that doesn't happen, so you kind of have to skip to that first date type of thing. And then you decide together if it's going to be a big thing or a little thing.
A little thing. I think that's because it's all online dating.
Yes.
It's not like you say going out and being among a lot of people. And
yeah, exactly. Which brings up the thing that we've also been talking about is, are there any rules to dating? What do you think, Lisa?
I'm sure there are rules, but I mean, in what part of dating are you talking about? Are there rules? I mean,
well, yeah, because you could talk, like, we've been talking, like, timeline, like, when should something happen? Is this acceptable to happen right now? I think rules in respect to maybe just like what I was just talking about. Like, should you not go out to eat for a first date? Or should you go for that walk? Should you, do a movie and dinner for a first date? or just go and get coffee? Like, what sort of, like, I don't know.
I mean, I went on dinner.
Yeah.
For my first date. But, I mean, it all depends on the two of you.
Exactly.
You know, and then how you connect and you discuss what you want to do. I mean, there's no...
Yeah. So, I feel like there's no rules, but a lot of time people want to define, like, wow, like, this really wasn't okay. Well, maybe it was okay for the both of you. I think that's hard for me to accept that. Especially, like, when, like, talking to you, I'm like, it doesn't sound right. But then, like, taking a step back and being like, okay, but maybe that's right for them. And if there's, like, truth and honesty between you and whatever situation, then it is right.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I think really there is no, as long as it's not extreme, because you do have people that, the term love bombing, which right out the gate, you're looking at me like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what love bombing is, folks.
She doesn't know. So basically, like, did we not talk about, is this not one of our terms that we talked about? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't talk about love bombing. I would have remembered that.
Yeah, so basically, right away, someone's, like, showering you with so much, affection and just, like, buying you things, taking you places, like, over-the-top affection. Just to suck you in. And when they have you, that's when they start backing up a little bit. And then they'll say to you, like, that's not when they say to you, but that's when you seem to start kind of looking crazy. When you're like, oh, but I thought we were going to go do this together. What do you mean? Like, I'm hanging out with my friends. So they all, like, up front, they'll, like, throw, like, all this attention at you.
Well, I hope I don't have that happen.
It's not going to happen. But that's what it is.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Who makes all these things up?
Well, it's like throwing bombs at, like, love bombing.
I think people just think too much. They just, they put too much.
Yeah.
You gotta just relax, be yourself, and enjoy each other's company. And if you connect and you're meant to be together, then it will work.
Yeah.
I think we really think too much into it. It's like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? It's just too...
It's too much.
You gotta be yourself.
No, I agree, and just see where it goes. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to, finally connect with someone who does just want to spend time together and just truly get to know each other.
Right.
And do fun things together without, like, any, hang-ups about it, or just natural.
Like give and take,
Yeah.
You do what they like, they do what you like, just...
Yeah. So.
And you do things that you like together.
Exactly.
Other things, but I mean, there might be times when you might not want to do something with someone because it's not your favorite thing to do, but when you're with somebody, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then...
Yeah, you compromise.
And
get to know that person and then go from there.
Right. Like, for instance, when I went out for dinner, and I'm not really a big seafood person, and it's like, let's try mussels. And I'm like, ooh, no, nasty. Like, that looks so
gross. But you did, right?
But I did, and guess what? I loved them. So I'm like, hey, this is good.
Yeah, people introduce you to new things that you wouldn't even think of, like, trying or doing. And I think
things that you're afraid of doing, right? And
and then it's good to have, connect to someone that's gonna push you a little bit into some new areas that you may not have explored before.
Right.
Yeah, or may have hesitated before on. So, yeah, but I don't know. I'll get there. But I remember a few things that, one is that there really truly is no rules. It's just kind of how you're feeling with that person and just looking out for things that feel good, things that feel bad, warnings, not warnings, and that person's out there.
Right, because you just think about, like, oh, should I call? Should I not call? Should I not text? It's like, really?
Just
if you want to call and text,
Just
Call,
do it.
text.
Yeah.
That is not a bad thing.
No.
You're letting the person know that you like them.
Yeah.
You know, and you're seeing how they're doing, how their day or night went.
Yes. Yeah. I think so. But then I'm like, no, don't do that, because in the beginning, that's like too much.
I think in the beginning is when you really show
Yeah.
more. I mean, you should throughout the whole relationship, but in the beginning, you want to spend time with that person all
That's
the time.
true.
You want to talk to them. You want to hear from them.
I guess it's because I haven't really truly experienced that, and maybe like one of the only times I've experienced that, I felt like it was like all at once up front, and then by the time I got sucked in, that person was pulling away. So then that was kind of like that love bombing situation, where I started to be like, well, I want to talk to you all the time and I want to hang out with you. Right after they were doing that to me, but then it became not an okay thing. So it's just tough to not fall into certain patterns, and for it to make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Right. You got to be open and honest.
Exactly.
Because it is so easy to fall back into your, like, what we were talking about, how I'm trying to think of the word.
You avoid?
I avoid.
Yeah.
And Kaitlyn,
I get so attached.
You're attached, yeah. I avoid, and because sometimes you gotta be aware, because you can fall back into the
old patterns.
And
which I'm trying not to do. But I think I'm doing a good job, and I'll continue to just explore what's out there, and maybe soon I'll be saying that I have a prospective person that I'm going on dates with. We'll see. Summer's coming up.
You will. I know you will. It's a matter of time. God's preparing him for you and you for him.
Exactly. Well, on that note, it's been good to get back into it. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. I know we sound so tired and relaxed today, unlike ourselves. But I mean, we're just.
But it's the season too. Once all the pollen comes out and everything, it kind of makes you all drowsy.
It is. Yeah. So keep listening.
Yes, everyone. And you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at NEH Podcasts.